Welcome to the Saturday morning preview show here on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Kerry Pollock. Alison McConnell and Tam McManus are here with me today. Alison, we've got the quiz, a new opponent. Has the competition stepped up? What do you feel?
Well, Tam can be the judge of that.
Let's get to the football first game of the day. St Johnstone against Motherwell. The Steelmen have set the bar last weekend. Stuart Kettlewell. Tam, they come up against an opponent who haven't quite got started this season so far, St Johnstone.
Yeah, they haven't. I think they were always favourites to probably be in the bottom two anyway. Motherwell started reasonably well. They were a bit sticky in the League Cup. You know, there's a couple of poor results in the League Cup, but great result against Hearts last week, and they go into this game full of confidence. St Johnstone will be missing, I think, Sidibe. I don't know how many games he got.
Obviously, 5th October, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be missing a lot of football. So, yeah, he's probably their main goal for it as well. So, yeah, I would fancy Motherwell to take care of St Johnstone.
Alison, you were at that game at the weekend and the whole debacle started with Sidibe. Was it confusing to watch from the press room?
Yeah, I think there was real ambiguity about what had happened. Nobody really knew that he'd been given a second red. We'd all seen the, what shall we call it, coming together with Kevin Holt without really knowing what had happened. Even both managers came in to speak to us after the game and weren't sure, so it was just confirmation about an hour or so after the game about what had happened. And I thought Craig Levine's comments this week were interesting. You know, he said he's disappointed the players let himself down, but we all move on. But I think privately he'll probably be fuming to be without him for the next month.
Yeah, what are you going for in this one?
Yeah, I think Motherwell. I've seen St Johnstone a few times this season. I think they're going to toil. I'm going to say 1-0 Motherwell.
2-1 Motherwell.
2-1 Motherwell. Dundee take on St Mirren. The Dark Blues unbeaten since May, Tam. St Mirren will want to better their performance from Celtic last weekend. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, again, a team really banging form and a team not really in form, St Mirren. I think they'll be happy they're out of Europe now. They can just concentrate on the league campaign. Dundee flying. You know, really impressive again last week against Hibs. You know, they've got goals in them, they've got pace and energy in the final third. St Mirren seem to be struggling to find that right formula up front to score goals at the minute. So again, you know, at Dundee at home, I'd fancy Dundee to win that game as well.
Ali?
Yeah, I would agree with all of that. I think definitely Dundee. I think just at Dens Park in particular, they've been very good. I think they've just picked up from last season. They've just continued that kind of form. Yep, I'm going to go for Dundee. I'm going to say 2-1.
2-1?
2-0.
2-0. Ross County take on Aberdeen later on tonight. The Dons come into this a force to be reckoned with. Kevin Nisbet makes his return to the Premiership. He's very confident. He says he can certainly add to the goal scoring tally.
Yeah, I think it's a good signing for Aberdeen. I think obviously losing Miovski was a massive blow, but they've banked the money and they've got a proven goal scorer on loan, Kevin Nisbet. So Aberdeen flying again. Ross County started poorly, you know, hammered against Rangers. Simon Murray's been a huge miss for them. Not just his goals, his leadership, his energy in the forward areas. I don't think they've replaced that. And again, Aberdeen, I think, got up there confident, full big support there as well. I'll go for Aberdeen to win that 2-1.
Yeah, Aberdeen are the team of the moment, aren't they? Just the way that they've started the campaign. Yeah, I think a home win for me. I think they'll continue the form that they've enjoyed in these opening weeks of the campaign, and I don't think their bubble's going to burst this weekend. I will say 2-0 Aberdeen.
2-0 Aberdeen and
2-1 Aberdeen.
2-1 Aberdeen. Right then, tomorrow Celtic take on Rangers. First meeting between the two sides this season. Tam, who's your favourites and why?
Oh, I think Celtic are undoubtedly favourites. I think that, you know, the work they're doing in the transfer market has been excellent. Obviously losing O'Reilly's a big blow. They've signed a couple of good players to replace them, and I just think they're better than Rangers. I think in terms of their starting 11, their depth, at home as well, 60,000 there. You know, I can only see a comfortable Celtic win. Listen, if Celtic don't play well, you know, you've seen that in the cup final at the tail end of last season. Rangers could have nicked that game. Celtic were poor on the day, so if Celtic don't turn up on the day and Rangers play really well, then they can get a result. But if Celtic turn up, play the way they can, there's only one winner for me, and it'll be Celtic.
Yeah, Philip Clement Ellison says they're not going to park the bus or wait for something to fall out of the sky. Did you expect anything less? These games are normally quite a battle between the two sides. Yeah,
I think it's easy to say that on paper with Celtic, but you know the way that Celtic set up, they're very aggressive in the press. They'll take the game to Rangers. I think the fact that they're playing in front of 60,000 of their own supporters is a factor that you can't overlook. I think we can all talk about the game and say it's a far better spectacle. The theatre of the game is better when you've got a split of supporters, when it is as it used to be. However, we all know then that when you've got 60,000 of your own support in, it's very, very difficult for the opposition. I think Rangers will try and frustrate Celtic, they'll try and keep the crowd quiet, but I think it's easier said than it is done. I think Celtic have started the season aggressively. I think they've had a bit of purpose about them. They look as though they've had the bit between their teeth. I don't see Rangers being able to get anywhere near them.
If they are to get something out of the game, how will the axis change how we look at these two sides at the moment?
Yeah, I think if Rangers were to win it, it would be huge for them. I think psychologically it would be huge for them. I think probably Philip Clement needs a win over Celtic at some point. I think you need to deliver against your biggest rivals. I just can't see that it will come on tomorrow. I can't see past Celtic for this one.
Scoreline?
I'm going to say 2-0 Celtic.
3-1 Celtic.
3-1 Celtic. OK, Kilmarnock take on Hibernian. A positive start against Copenhagen midweek, Tam. It wasn't enough in the end. It's definitely affected their performances domestically.
Yeah, again, Derek, I think will be glad. I think they've had a great run in Europe. Nielsen, they've done really well. They were competitive against a really good side, Copenhagen. But I think they're sitting bottom of the league at the minute with no points. So I think they'll be looking to try and get up the table. Obviously, great season last season. I think it's really affected their domestic form being in Europe. I don't know how tired they'll be come Sunday. Hibs will go into the game fresh, but you don't know what you're going to get for Hibs at the minute. They're scoring goals, they're leaking goals. Again, I don't think they've really strengthened defensively this season, and I can see goals in this game and maybe a score draw to each.
Yeah, really need a win, Hibs, though.
Yeah, they do. I think both teams do. I think both teams are in the bottom three at the minute, which I know it's early doors, but you'd never have thought, Kilmarnock and Hibs would be in the bottom three, along with Hearts. So listen, it's a huge game. David Gray's come in, he's trying his best, he's trying to reshape the squad, reshape the team, but he needs to get results as well. They've had a decent record down at Rugby Park over recent years, and I think they'll go down and get a draw to each. Yeah,
Kilmarnock obviously, as Den McInnes says, Ali, injuries, whatnot here and there. Do you think it'll take them a couple of weeks to get back to some sort of normality?
Yeah, I think sometimes there can be a hangover from it. I think there's no question that it's affected them the way that they've started the season. I think it's very difficult when you don't have a big squad and you don't have the depth to cope with the midweek games, the travel and everything it entails. And I think these games probably sap a lot out of you in terms of energy, adrenaline, and then you're just trying to recover. I think his focus now will be on just trying to recover domestically, just trying to make up ground. It's very, very early in the season, but I think there's always a fear, I think, from managers when you find yourself at the bottom and you're not picking up points, you just end up getting cast adrift. I think he'll just want to try and start getting points on the board now and recover from what's been a tough domestic start to the season. But I think it'll be a draw tomorrow too, purely because I think there can be a hangover from European games.
One each?
One each.
One each, and you said?
2 each.
2 each. All right, finally then, we've got Hearts against Dundee United. Speaking of teams who need a win, Tam, Hearts, my goodness, they can't buy one at the minute.
Yeah, dreadful start of the season, going all the way back to pre-season. A couple of my mates are Hearts fans and they feared the worst watching them in pre-season, and it definitely came to fruition when the league started in Europe as well. They've lost both games, so obviously they've got the bonus to drop out in the Conference League, but I think Stephen needs a win. I think the fans are starting to turn a wee bit, and you could hear it during the week there against Pilsen. They didn't really have a go at Pilsen, and they went out meekly 1-0, so he needs a result. I said this will be tough. Dundee United have started the season well as well. They've started the season well, and I don't know how tired Hearts will be. Lauren Shanklin missing as well is a huge blow, so I think Dundee United will beat Hearts. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Dundee United.
Okay. Well, as Tam says, they're a good start to the season. Just one defeat, and that came against Falkirk earlier on in the Cup this season. Will Dundee United be a team to shock a few? Yeah,
well, I think certainly they've started well. I think it's been a positive start from them. I quite fancy Dundee United against Hearts too. I just think they've had a week. They've been fairly fresh. They got a gritty win, I think, last weekend against St Johnstone. But just a wee bit of momentum there. I think the converse is true for Hearts. I think they've been toiling for form. I think Lauren Shanklin being out is pretty huge. And again, I just think it's been such a sluggish opening few weeks. And the manner of the defeat on Thursday night, I thought it was very insipid. There was just nothing about Hearts. I think, I think that was a game that they could have won. I think you weren't overly impressed by what was on offer. I think Hearts should be coming out of that thinking that they could have done enough to go on. So I think when you have that atmosphere around the club, around the team, I think it can have a knock-on effect. And I'm going to say Dundee United 2-1.
2-1, and you said 2-1 as well. Yep. All right then, that brings us to the quiz. Ali going for 2 wins and 2, Tam. All know the rules, yes.
Hope you've not been shown all the answers.
Definitely not, as never. I never do.
I don't know who does that. Who does that? Is this excuse coming in there?
Exactly. I know. Fear Ali, I'm sensing it. Right, first question. Who scored for Kilmarnock on Thursday night
Marley
against...
Watkins.
Yes, he did. Ali, well done. Be quick, Tam. Who is the league's top goal scorer?
Dessers.
Yes. You've met your match, right? Okay.
Oh my God.
Meet this one. Which championship side defeated Hearts in the cup earlier this week?
She might have just got
Oh, I think she nicked that one. 3 for Ali. Right, fourth question. Celtic will face which English Premier League side as part?
She's seen them. I'm telling you that she's literally didn't even get the question and she's seen them.
She might give you this one, right? Which former Motherwell player started against the Steelmen for Hearts last weekend?
Spittle.
Yes, well done.
Well, you gave me that one just as a wee consolation.
4-1 for Ali. He's got a bit of competition, doesn't he, like it? All right, we'll be back next week with some more action to look forward to. Thanks for watching.